Okay, this is Rescape 2.0 video 2. Today I'm going to be doing, there's a ton of videos on this, but basically okay, so there's Chi, CHI, or QI, Chi, force, largely defined as living energy, or it gives things life. It's everywhere. It's like the force in Star Wars, except according to some people, you can use your mind to move it, manipulate, and do things with it. So, and that's generally the term. People that believe chi, or people that have heard people that believe chi, will say something like that. Chi is just an energy, a life force energy. Okay, so what is chi? First, let me back up to go into why chi isn't scientifically accepted. Logically, let's go back. Okay, so the first reason, if it's not scientifically accepted, the skeptic then would be like, science is always looking for new things. They love to explore new things and figure it out. If chi's out there and it hasn't been discovered, certainly there have already been attempts by scientists to figure out what chi is. And if there hasn't been anything documentable, like with peer-reviewed documents accepted in the scientific community, and it was a new thing, that means they must have searched every inch and corner to see if there's anything there and didn't find anything, so it can't be real. So, which actually makes a lot of sense. Now, the second thing is there's scientists that say they're skeptics, but really just have an idea of how everything works, and then they try to debunk anything that doesn't go along with their idea. That's not a real skeptic. A real skeptic is someone who's open to the possibilities, but then at the same time refines them. So they'll observe something, instead of like dismissing outright, they're like, what is that for? Or what does that do? Or how did you do that? And then depending on the answers to that question, he'll call bullshit, basically see if the guy even knows, or the girl even knows what she's talking about. But they filter out the reality that way, and that's how you discover new things, and good scientists do that. So, and then as far as like energy, let's just say, because every like E equals mc squared, for a long time, all physicists have all known that everything's energy. Matter is a form of energy, and then there's energy, so everything's energy. And a lot of people that believe in chi will use that to, support their theories, like, oh, there must be chi energy because, everything's energy, except you can't say there's energy that's not there based off the fact that everything's energy, because everything may not include the energy that you're talking about. So then so what you have, okay, so you've got, let's just like basic forms of energy. You have gravitational energy, where you've literally got a force exerted by an object on one object, and then one object exerting on the other, and it's based, as far as I know, solely on a proportion to the mass of the object. And it's very slight, but it covers over huge distances, and so when you've got large objects, they do have a significant pull on each other, and you get orbits and things like that. So, but gravity, as far as we know, is not based on chemical. It's just matter in general. Just the mass of an object is proportional to the mass of the objects. And then you've got things like combustion or electricity, which is more of a chemical thing, because electricity is based off the ions, or the extra electrons. They don't have a proton, as far as I know. Again, I'm not a scientist, so I might not be saying this exactly right, but electricity is based pretty much solely on displacement of electrons. And that's why you see, like, when you see a spark or lightning, the reason there's light is because the air current that the electricity is going through is exciting the electrons. When a battery loses its charge, it means it's, they purposely put more electrons in one place than the other, and then they equalize, and so there's not a, current going on through there anymore. So everything about electricity, and then of course electrical current can also cause a magnetism. So you've got the electromagnetism thing. The next thing you got is like light, like the infrared all the way up to ultra violet radiation, and then the human eyes can see a small segment where we show different colors based off the frequencies, but it's a lot larger than that. And that one seems to be energy of itself. So it doesn't actually, where it comes from and where it goes is basically, you'll see light when it hits something because it reflects off that something into your eyes. So you can either see light by its source, which is usually a chemical reaction, or you can see what it hits and then it reflects back, and that's how you get colors and how we see things and why we can't see things when it's darkness. So you've got gravity, which is basically matter-based, and then you've got the chemical-based electromagnetism, and then you've got the energy-based light. And then like light will add energy, like certain lights will heat up. You can heat something by shining a light on it and things like that. But the thing with all these energies is they are verifiable and repeatable, and they do the same thing under the same circumstances. They'll react the same way because they're not spontaneous or alive. They don't make decisions. They don't figure things out. There's just laws that they obey. And if you So a scientist in Australia and a scientist in France and a scientist in the United States can all, do the same experiment and get the same result on all these energies in like radiation energy or whatever. And it's all verifiable. So then you've got something called chi energy. So if gravity is matter to matter, and you've got chemicals that affect chemicals, and matter that affects matter, because they two pull each other, and energy that affects energy, because you can see the light or see where the light comes from. If you see the light beam, if it's going through a vacuum, you won't see it. You won't see it until it hits something. And same with electricity; it only sparks because of the air. If it's in a vacuum, you won't see it. So when someone says chi is invisible, like what most people think of, and I think is rational, is like, oh yeah, like God's invisible. Yeah, you just make it up, because obviously if it doesn't exist, you have to say it's invisible, and it's not. But it's just like the other energies. You can't see them. You can't see gravity. So all these other energies are invisible. So what's the big stretch if you say chi's invisible? If it really exists, like the other three can be proven based off the result. You don't really know what gravity is, at least as far as we don't. Maybe on cutting edge physics, they're finally being able to figure out like a graviton substance. Last time I checked, they didn't know that. But you can't see it, but you can see the effects. And that's true of all these real energies. You don't know what they are. You just see there's like photons, and you know what they do. So you base what you know on these things by their effect, by on the five senses or whatever, which is all what science does, is based off the five senses, as far as I know. And then with chi, so asking what is chi energy isn't really a fair question. What you should be asking is, what does chi energy do? What's the effects of chi energy? If it's real, it should have verifiable effects. And if so, why hasn't science, been able to categorize it? And there's three reasons that I can think of off the top of my head. The first reason is that if you've got physical, chemical, and energy, now you're putting a category where there's energy from life. Well, everybody knows life isn't a rock. Life isn't matter. Life doesn't follow rules. It's spontaneous. Like if you try to do an experiment on something that's alive, you can't repeat that, because any moment that something's alive, either you're doing it on something else that's alive or it's in a different place. So there's never the same moment with living things. So if chi energy is a life energy, it would make sense that it doesn't follow repeatable laws, because it's spontaneous, like life's spontaneous. So there's that one. The second one is that the people that actually manipulate their chi and can do things and manipulate things with us, there's just not a lot of people. And even of that people, there's a smaller segment that will do it, in public or teaches people. And even of that segment, there's even a smaller segment that, basically you've got people that can't do it, and then the small section of people that can do it, and the small section of people that will teach or do it publicly. Not assuming chi's real. So, but in all these situations, like I said about the scientists in France, scientists in Australia, scientists in the United States that all can do their own experiments, you can't have one person in the United States and one person in France and one person in Australia have them do the same thing. And even if they're trained by the same teacher, when they do it, it's going to be a different result because they're different people. So it's not repeatable, it's not verifiable. And so if one scientist can see the results from one Qigong master, how is he going to get the rest of his community to believe them? Because you literally have to fly that guy out to every single laboratory for every single scientist. And the thing with the chi energy is it doesn't have a category. There's not a theory that links it in with things that are already known by scientists. So it's much more easy for the scientific community to dismiss the one lab that had the one results, because they can't, nobody else can do it. And so what's more likely, the whole scientific community or that one person? And then what happens is scientists purposely stay away from it because they don't want to be ostracized and make, whatever to support this kind of stuff, because it's not going to do anything anyway. So you've got that. And then, so you've got the one person, and then the fact that it's spontaneous. And then, oh God, I forgot. What was the third one? So manipulating chi is hard to teach. So the fact there's not a lot of people that know about it, if the world, the one world government decided to make sure that everybody could know chi as quickly as possible, it would take, at least 2 generations of teaching before everybody could get it, just because there's nobody that really knows it. So that makes the community seem like, a bunch of crazy people, because the scientific community doesn't support them. And there's so few of them, that sort of thing. And the reason, and then the question becomes, well, if there is life energy, why can't everybody feel it? Because, we're all alive. And if there's gravity, which is matter to matter, and chemical to chemical, energy, obviously if there's a life energy, it would only be felt by living things. You can't use instruments to feel chi, because it's the same reason you can't use chemicals to feel gravity. So you have to have the ability to feel. And I believe most living things, plants included, and animals or whatever, I'm pretty sure human beings are probably one of the only few animals that isn't able to feel something like this, which is why you have to go through all the training to like open up your meridians and all that stuff to finally be able to feel it. And of course, not a lot of people, but if it's life to life, it has to be felt by someone's alive. And since we're alive, we should be able to feel it, and we should be able to, basically make that a thing where we can, because you can't manipulate something until you can feel it. Oh, I remember the third one. The reason that science, because you can talk about this energy or that energy or this type of energy, that type of energy, but what makes life energy different, and the main reason it gets dismissed, is because life energy can be manipulated by mind intent. The human mind, independent of anything else, can move this energy around and make it do things based off the quality of the mind and what it intends to do. You can't do that with any other energies. You can't bend gravity or have telekinesis or like, make magnets stick to your skin or whatever, which is just ridiculous. And so you introduce this new kind of energy and being like, oh yeah, I can take my energy, I can shake your hand and stop your heart from beating. And then it's like, that's crazy. But one of the reasons that people in Asia don't shake hands is because a long time ago, like 1,000 years ago, when there were emperors, they wouldn't touch anybody because they know there could be assassins that will kill them just by touching them. And that's a real thing. And that's just one of the examples. So if it can be controlled by the mind, that doesn't fit with any other category of anything else anywhere in science. So even if 100% of the scientists believed that something like this could actually take place, they wouldn't even know what to do with it. And so it's much more easy for the skeptics to be like, well, what are the chances everything else we know about fits, starts to fit together, or we're fitting them together? And then you just have this thing that doesn't make sense in any other way. Why would you even, it would be much easier just to turn it off. So that's what chi does. If you want to know what chi does, being a life energy, if you put your chi into someone else, they'll feel more alive. They'll feel healthier. Like you can see in my eyes, I have less chi energy than go back in 2015. Listen to the sound of my voice. Like I don't have as much chi as I used to. And it's not because I'm tired, it's just the way I am. And when you give away your chi, if you don't build it up, you'll end up, you'll get drained. And so and then the thing is, how do you experiment on that? Because there's no way to measure that. How do you measure a living thing, how alive a living thing is? Because if they try to, they're going to revert back to, electric, the nervous system, or, how much, oxygen chemical gets absorbed by the red blood cells or things like that. They go back to the other energetics. They don't have the paradigm for the life chi, but it's there, and it's undefined. And so it's hard to describe, but it can be felt. If you train it up, it's like another feeling. It's like being able to hear, but now you're hearing something that other people can't hear. And when you're aware of other things, especially things you can manipulate with your mind, once you're aware of it, and then you can start doing things with it. You can't do anything with your life force energy if you can't feel it. So the main part of training in Qigong is connecting your mind up with the energy field around your body and in your body to be able to do things with it. And you have to feel it. So anyway, that's Qi, not what it is. What does it do? I guess I go into another video, not just try to debunk the debunkers, but actually tell you what it does. Because honestly, there's 36 primary genes, which just means there are 36 primary qualities of what Qi can take based off the quality of the mind and the mind intent. You can direct it, shape it, whatever. It gets pretty complex. This kind of thing was not uncommon in China like a couple hundred years ago. They had universities that taught this stuff. So, and with professors and peer-reviewed things or whatever, but we just don't have anymore because there's that divide, the Eastern and the Western mind. The Western side never even, if they ever had this kind of stuff, it got covered up. And so we're just like, it just doesn't exist. If we would have known about it, obviously. So anyway, I think this video has gone on long enough. And anyway, chi's real. If you can think about it the way I've said it, I hope I'm laying out the logical way that it's not being accepted and that it still exists. Anybody can do it. Well, almost anybody can do it. Find a teacher that really knows how to do it. It doesn't take long, just a couple months. You'll be able to feel something. You might be able, if it's a good teacher, they'll let you feel it like as soon as you walk in the door. They'll just, let you feel their chi or just make it super loud. And then you'll at least know there's something. If you want to know if there's something, it's very easy. Like if you and I were in the same room together, I could put my hands around your hand or your face or whatever, and you would very clearly feel there's some sort of something that you didn't know about, unless you do know about chi, or just people don't know about, don't talk about. And if there's something, if there's anything there that you can finally feel and it's not in your head because it's verifiable, like you could write down what you felt and I could write down what I felt, you feel independently, and then we compare notes and it'd be the exact same thing. So it's not in our heads. It's a shared experience. And then if you know that that's the case, then just go with it. Because if there's something there, that's already proven the scientific community wrong, because they say nothing's there. And if they're wrong about that, they're probably wrong about everything else. And then it would make logical sense that the people that tell you they can do these things, they're probably telling the truth. So anyway, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, this was what got me involved, like with a lot of this. And oh man, I just ate it up. Just the idea, the fact that stuff's real was really cool to me back when it was novel. Now it's just kind of like matter of fact. But yeah, definitely, if you can get involved in this stuff, I really, really recommend it. There's a lot of benefits. It's really fun. And just discovering new things is fun. And because if everything's been discovered, what are we even here for? So anyways, Steve, Rescape 2.0 video. What is chi? Thanks. Have a good day.